Tyrannosaur rex is the most famous, most studied dinosaur in the world, known by almost all dinosaur and even non-dinosaur fans. And why don't they? Because T-Rex is face of Jurassic franchise and internet-sized chat. And yet, even with all the fossils, all the documentaries, and all the museum mounts, a new study suggests we've still been picturing it wrong, especially when it comes to its size and growth rate. Here's the version most of us were taught. T-Rex hatches small and fragile, spends its early years vulnerable. Then in its teens, it enters a violent growth spurt. Muscle piles on, the skull thickens, the bite becomes catastrophic. By around 20 to 25 years old, the story said it's basically finished, a full-grown tyrant, the apex predator you see in museums. And for a long time that made sense, because it matched the bones we had, and it matched the idea we're comfortable with. Big predators shouldn't last long. But there's a problem. We were building the entire life story of the most famous predator on Earth on a small number of individuals, and from what the bones could show at a glance. And when you do that, you don't learn the rules of the species, but you learn the rules of the ones that died early. That's why a newer, larger study looked deeper. With more specimens, more histology, better techniques, they used a special light called polarized light on 17 T-Rex bone specimens, and it made hidden growth lines pop out, lines earlier studies couldn't see. And when they counted those, the timeline stretches, not by a few years, but by decades. According to this model, T-Rex may not have truly finished growing until about 35, even 40 years old, and the total lifespan could have 45 to 50. That doesn't mean it kept growing like a teenager, because the explosive phase still happens early. But it's still growing and keep adding mass depending on food and conditions. In fact, the study's numbers suggest the fastest weight growth hit roughly ages 14 to 29, sometimes around 800 to 1,200 pounds a year. And that changes everything. Because now, think about what an old T-Rex would be. Not faster, not more agile, but thicker, heavier, harder to stop, and has more chance in winning battle than previous case. Which leads to an even darker question. If T-Rex could keep growing for that long, how big could one get? And this is where the 70% larger T-Rex idea comes in, and it's often misunderstood. This is not "we found a new skeleton," and it's not a confirmed size either. It's a population model asking a brutal question. If a species existed for millions of years, and you only have a handful of skeletons, what are the odds the absolute biggest individual ever lived long enough, died in the right place, and fossilized? And the answer is kind of terrifying. Using the largest known specimens as a baseline, the study says an extreme outlier T-Rex could have been around 70% more massive than the largest one we know. That pushes weight into the 15-ton range. And length? Potentially 25% longer than the largest confirmed skeletons, which put it upload 15 to 16 meter. So now, if you must be wondering how scientists come up with this 70% large theory without having fossil evidence, right? Well, a team of paleontologists, especially Dr. Jordan Mallon and Dr. David Hone, built a population model, a simulation of T-Rex growth, lifespan, variation, and fossil chance. They didn't just look at the biggest skeletons, they looked at how rarely those skeletons appear, how long these dinosaurs lived, how often they died, and how unlikely it is that the truly giant ones fossilized at all. When they ran the numbers, the curve didn't stop where the fossils stop. It kept rising. Not a little bit, not by a foot or two, by nearly 70% more massive than the largest T-Rex we've ever found, pushing weight toward 15 tons and length nearly 16 meters, as we mentioned above. But let me clear, no new skeleton was discovered for this. No bones dug up from deeper ground. Just the realization that most bodies never fossilize at all. The biggest, rarest individuals would be almost impossible to find, as it's more likely 1 in a million. But the biggest T-Rex we know, the ones in museums, the ones in textbooks, might not represent the tallest peak of the species. They might represent the ones that died early, the ones that fossilized by chance. And somewhere beyond them, in a world we can't dig into, the potential giants could have existed, not just bigger or heavier, but almost unimaginably massive, silent in the rock, unfound and unmeasured. If you want more prehistoric content like this, like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.